keynote speaker is going to be taking us on the thing, which is your art, your influence. So we stand innovation. That's why for Mr. Dimeji Sodeke.
Thank you very much for this honor. Please make this please. Good morning, everyone. Let me first start from. Permit me, Mr. Olabayo. I'm supposed to start with you. But I saw something here, Professor Amon was like the other one, Islamic World Culture of the person. I was greeting the other before the friends. And I'm not just greeting also, I want to tap into the grace because I love this. Very soon I want that name, Prof, should have it to me. So, permit me to say, good morning, sirs. I'm so honored to be seated with you, and I'm tapping already, and I pray that God will let grace to work out for me in Jesus' name. I want to also thank Mr. Olabayo for this honor. It is a different ballgame when we say we are colleagues and we are friends, and it is another different ballgame when your friend sees your potential, respect it, and bring you up for opportunities. And I'm not taking this for granted. He's also a colleague I respect so much. He's a letter person, and I'm not in no doubt that due to the knowledge I have of him, the whole Witty Writers group, you guys are full of talent, you're amazing. I want you to give yourself a round of applause. And I can see that you guys are well organized, cultured, and I'm so impressed that this industry has a high hope. I'm not even at this critical state of, you know what is obtainable amidst me youths. My name is Dimeji Sodeke. I would like to address such manner. To delve deeper, because I'm a very practical person, I love things to be interesting. To delve deeper into today's topic, please can I get a bottle of Coke? Okay,
okay.
I deserve a drink. No. In fact, that's
7 up.
I think I would prefer Pepsi. Pepsi. I don't have choice. Okay. I want us to go practical here. And I want us to be involved. I want it to be you being involved in today's. It says your heart, your influence, right? Oh, very good. Now, this is a Pepsi. Now, if I would ask, as a biology person, a biology student, a biology person, what is this before you? How will you define this? What is this? Liquid substance. Now let us move to thinking as an agricultural person, as an agric person. What will you call this? I have to for people that are answering this. As an agricultural person, food. He said food. Yeah, are you marking their faces already? Food. Another source of food. God bless you. As a chemistry person, you are chemistry. You are the one that always. What will you call this?
Chemical substance.
Chemical substances. Combination of chemistry. I think we are seeing things. It's a combination of chemical substances, right? So let's move away from there. And let's ask our own world now. We are writers. As a literature person, what's it? Muse. Please defend yourself.
I mean, I should speak on how this could be.
Yes,
okay, looking at this bottle, I find that when it is shaken and then it is opened, there's this reaction that comes with it. So that could perhaps be more like the shakes and tossles that could come with certain events that we experience. And the long run, as I ponder on it the more, I believe ideas will come.
The
I
law.
hope that is the process.
The law.
Now, let's delve deeper. Please, my first gift goes to me. You know why I'm not going to give you gift on chemistry and everything? We are all writers now, so this is where my gift will go. My first gift for you, as a literature person, as a writer, what is this before you?
Must life be hard?
Yes, now, please.
Must life be hard?
Must life be hard?
I am asking you a question about must life be hard?
I don't understand.
That's the Pepsi before on your
Yes, and the reason why life is that way, very technical, because we have chosen to view this world, we have chosen to interpret it based on our perspective. And as literature person, I personally can say this represents neocolonialism, symbolizes America, dominance over all countries. Why is it that Pepsi must be or Coca-Cola must be dominant in all countries, even Arabian countries? Say, okay, you don't understand English, we will write it in Arabic for you. Continue drinking it in your country. So when I look at it, I see power. Can you see the way we view the world? A chemistry person will come and tell you, combination of chemicals, they see it here, they will argue. But when we talk, we view the world the way we are predisposed to. And that is why I have to prepare our mind, because we want to delve deeper into your heart and your influence. So I think two people won the gift, myself and him. That was not. Well, there's still more gifts going on in this session. Like I said, we're going to go. Must life be hard? That's very simple. That is, it's true. It's a Pepsi. But to a chemistry person, you don't accept that. They say, no, Pepsi is a dangerous chemical. There's something in it that needs to go. Me tell them, they are doing there, where they hold to they came in I've been drinking it and I've not died. To an agri person, this is another source of food, energy, like
he said it.
He said it.
Okay.
So we have on and on and on. In fact, we didn't even touch all aspects of profession. A religious person, how would they do this? Your pastor. We don't know yet. So people will tell you, don't you know that the Holy Spirit is like, you need sugar rush. You don't know. People interpret the word, and that is the beauty of life. But just because of today, you see this word art is a very broad spectrum. When we say what is art, people define art in a different way, but it's an expression of creativity. It's an expression of creativity, finding a place, aligning with aesthetics, and trying to convey messages. But you see, that word, your art has aligned something which is your personality, what you represent. I want us to give ourselves a round of applause in Africa, because yesterday, another African has won the Nobel Prize for Literature. His name is Abdulrazak Rona from Tanzania. He's based in UK. So it's not only our Wole Soyinka here that has won it. We have another guy who has also won that Nobel Prize laureate. But do you know that when you go and study that guy's art and crafts, he represented something, and what he represented stood for, it is easy for him because he is expressing who he is. Let's snap out of right now. Let's talk about what we are related with. I don't need to meet some artists one-on-one before I know that some are really, really obsessed about women. Whiskey, for an example, compared to Burna Boy. Burna Boy talks about reality and life because that is who he is. He's passionate about the society, trying to condemn the ills and the wrongs of the society. Okay. But that doesn't mean, now, are you following me, please? But yes. That doesn't mean that Whiskey or whoever has chosen another aspect, just like we are writers there, he might be the romance, he might not be a fan of romance. He might be very fantastic, he might be metaphysical, spiritual blue. You look like that. Delilah of 2022. You know, it might just be an interest. What might interest us might not be the light of what the Adiboyes will write. But the truth is, we are all into this writing. So now we now talk about specification and everything. You see, your art. Now I separated art before. I'm now talking about your art. Now the question I want you to answer now is, what are you passionate about? Most of the time, we go to an arena where we can be easily flawed because it is not who we are. It's just like women, they are logical beings. So, I'm just a new, I know you are very well experienced in marriage. Men are logical beings, women are very emotional beings. When a woman drags you to that emotional state, you can't win her. Just forget it. Even when you're on your right, and they now say, please, explain. Just know that the discussion might end by you apologizing. But when you go back to meditate and say, mommy will check me now, things might erupt. And you say, let me just, you see, because they are emotional being, logical being. I don't want you to drag me to your emotional state because you win me. She doesn't want to come to the logical state because I will win. That is where your art comes in. I'm still coming to your influence, your art. So what is your art? We streamline this to writing. What are you writing about? Does it represent you? Is it who you are? Are you really passionate about politics? Because we are going to know from your writing. Are you passionate about culture? A long time ago, LSN Go and the rest, they kicked off a movement called negritude. It was a radical approach in literature that, yes, black consciousness. We went unapologetically portraying, and we have likes of Kamara, Lahaye, Falling in Line, Kopina Seki, we have Oguki Watsogo, we have this guy from Ayikoyama. We even have our guy, yes, we even have our guy here, China Achebe, aligning with it. Everybody went radical. But someone said, come. It's just like you are abusing someone who is permitting you to use Twitter. And you are using that Twitter to, come on. Who taught us how to write this thing? What medium are you using to even criticize this thing? Then someone came and said, look, the issue about culture is this. No culture is absolute. There are wrongs in this culture, there are wrongs in this culture. There are extremism in this culture, there are extremism in this culture. The onus rests on us to bring the good side of this culture, the good side of this culture, then merge it together. Our own problem is that we are trying to condemn another, and there's no superior culture. Then he wrote a book. When the argument was written, yes, he said, I stand tight with you. The tiger does not brag about his tiger, it answers. The argument went on and on in a way to said, death and the king's of son. Okay, this thing in your culture, Abobaku. Yes, is it the proper kind of culture? Yeah, you know now, when there's an argument that's now, Abobaku, that's just what, you see, people now started coming out and say, even it was some of us that sold some of us because Sodeke. Please, are you following me? I don't know if I've gone too deep at this point. Now, that is what he stood for. Everybody said, oh, he's a white man's dog. He lived there. They gave him Nobel laureate. He was living in the UK. And they said, okay, fine. You think I'm dancing to their tone? No. But I am telling you the fact that we need ourselves. We are all members of this art. And over time, history has played out that to say that, oh, some people will always be dominant over some people. War, everything has always been transparent. That is who he represents. That doesn't mean he falters or he won the argument. But out of every, you just have to portray what you stand for, which is now your art. We are at a critical point in Nigeria, in Africa, and this guy that just won the Nobel Prize yesterday, do you know what he did? His land was predisposed to revolution from Tanzania, Zanzibar. He used his art. What was germane to him, then he used his own writing, his craft, also to project, to reflect on the wrongs and the doings, on the happenings that was going on in the country about refugee, writing about the African reality and predicament. Then his art became his reality. So I won't be surprised if I sit down with Burna Boy today and the only thing we discuss all through is how angry he is about Nigerian government. Would you be surprised when you sit with Whiskey and all he talks about is women? Because his craft already talks more about who he represents. You don't want to produce what doesn't represent you, your personality. So that's why you see, when we do literary criticism, we can't separate the lifestyle of the writer from the writing itself. Now this is where we have to be careful. Are you passionate about love? Are you a love doctor? Are you in a relationship? Are you really passionate? Or you are just someone who is just trying to write because you feel that when you write romance, it's going to sell better, or erotic book. Then, imagine that book got sold out and it doesn't really, you now need to change who you are to suit the produce of your work. And it might be working at some point in time, but it will get to a particular point in time that you can't keep up because that is not who you are. So before you get sold out as the next author, as the next bestseller, New York seller, African seller, or as our next Nobel laureate, you have to consider your heart. Then now we talk about the influence it's going to have, which is germane. A lot of time I've seen writers come to me and what they talk about is, please, I want to write, like, what can I write about? Can I write about children's book so that I will sell it in primary school? The book will be thinking about money. I want to write aspects wo ni kin mu in the writing tó máa ń tà. That's the way they are wired. It's just like you want to sing right now. Chike, I'm using music because I know that I'm speaking to youth. I'm not speaking it. For if I start speaking more like I'm picking Nawaleo Sadawi. How many of us know Nawaleo Sadawi? It's just like, but now, Chike is very easy for him to align with romance kind of music. Now let's pick this guy, Tinidakolo, Brimo. Then you move to the likes of the video. Kiss Daniel. Are you spotting differences already? Asha and Tiwa Savage. Can you spot differences already? Now, their lifestyle, what they sing, do you see it in their attitude or not? Of course you do. So, a lot of people have got hung up because they went for something they felt was trending, and that is the danger. Going for trends, running after trends is the danger. So, I wrote some few things down. The power of written words. You see, written words are so powerful that you can't toy with this gift, with this craft. How many of us have read about Adolf Hitler? Adolf Hitler. I hope we all know that Adolf Hitler, at some point in time, was awarded Nobel Peace Prize. He was given Nobel Peace for hair. The guy who kicked off the Second World War. How did he manage? Writing was one of the powerful tools Adolf Hitler made use of. Have you even read his account, Mein Kampf? His autobiography, the one he wrote himself. Trust me, you want to argue if Hitler was actually a nationalist or a terrorist. Because he picked up the pen this time around and he told his own story to the world. Power of written words. You don't want to joke with written words here because it's going to outlive you. It's bigger than you. It's an industry that has thrived, has been in place even before we were born. It's even more like the oldest form of media. Trust me, you don't want to joke with reading. It's powerful. You don't want to write things that later on they will align you with your picture and your quote and you say, I've heard Bishop Oyedepo and the like saying they published some books. Now that they know better, they went back, withdrew those books from publication sales. And no. Power of written words are so powerful that this industry is more like a very delicate being in our hands that must not drop and must not die. So I want us to know that, note that. Then there's also one thing that we need to ask ourselves. But before we ask ourselves that question, in this industry, we need to understand that creativity has no limits. It is an ever-flowing river. According to the book of Oslo, I think I read the book while I was in Egypt. Oslo wrote the book Creativity. It is an ever-flowing river. Have you ever wondered that the same music, the same creativity industry, that people have come, you listen to a song today and you want to vow that, I don't think nobody can ever beat this. Wait till like next week. You listen to another song, you didn't want to do that much for them anymore. It's more like it's more like it renews itself. It's ever flowing river it has no limits. So you can explore in the world of creativity. Just know that you are just delving in a well that does not dry up. And the more you release, the more you get. You can't save up your best because you don't know your best yet. That your best is until you release it. You get another inspiration that will be better than what you've given out. A lot of time we waste time to say, oh, I want to do this. It will take me 3 years. Trust me, you don't want to take 3 years before you release that. To know what creativity is, having a relationship with creativity, you understand that it's an ever-flowing river and you cannot exhaust it. Now, we now have to ask ourselves this question. What influence do I want to have? What do I want to remember for? What impact do I want to make? The word influence means that the ability for one to be able to change one's decision, to initiate one's decision, to spark up something in someone. She has an influence on you, she's your friend. You don't want to go out, she comes to you, or any of your take out your subject. She knows what she calls you now. Before you know it, you're already getting your clothes and say, you will be the one to pay for my transfer fare. This same person that says she's not going out and she has vowed. She has been able to influence you. You see some people and they will tell you that they're suffering, they could go. You go. Influence. Influence your decision. Some of you have decided that you never partake in politics. Maybe to take our own book to come out. You read and you say, for this purpose, I'm going to partake in politics. How did you feel when you finished reading No Longer Artist? Or Gina Achebe's Things Fall Apart? Some of you will drop that, this white. It just came to come and destroy it. That's exude an emotion in you, right? Now later on when you read Death and the King's of Man by Professor Wole Soyinka, how did you feel? Some of you are like, you bury someone with someone alive. He was able to influence yourself. Ayikoyama, this is book, his famous book, what's the title? Ayikoyama's piece. The beautiful ones are not yet born. Haven't you seen your senator? You are how did you do this? Yes. It will influence you. So what kind of influence do you want to have? Do you know that there's censorship going on? There are some books that they will never allow kids to read. It's rated. Because things that are written in that book are so dangerous for the mind of the kids. Probably erotic, probably modern, some kind of dangerous things that kids are not supposed to be exposed to. And do you know it's not only kids that we are meant to be censoring? I'm speaking as a responsible writer now. You are supposed to censor who you want to represent, what you want to influence in the society. Now this guy, the two guys that have won Nobel laureates in Africa, what has their influence been so far? There's a lady from Egypt, Nawal El-Saadawi, she's famous. She was radical against religious fundamentalists. Radical against all these mullahs. Why? Because women don't have a voice in the supposed religion. And they don't, she doesn't want to bow down to it. Do we know that widowhood in Africa already has its own share of societal alienation? Do you want your voice, your pen, to be, to influence a kind of change in the society? Or you want to follow trend? People run after trend, but trust me, trend cannot go far. It can sell fast, but there's a time bound for descending to. But trend can never go far, cannot outlive. A lot of musicians now, when I call their name, you will laugh. And you say, these guys, I don't know, maybe they've gone to take a jam form. Where's X project? You see, on and on. And those guys came, follow trend at their house. But we have some people that even their workers are with them. Where's Two-Face? Still relevant for us. So now, we need to now define what kind of influence I want to have. Now, thank God for this kind of industry that we have. This is a kind of industry that anything written, brings exude respect for people. And trust me, it opens great doors that you don't want to joke with. I remember I wrote my first book. My muse, like you said, my own muse is the Holy Spirit, bro. I'm a very radical person. And I wrote the first book. I didn't want to take advice from my friends. If I had left them. Because I know, how will I tell a friend that is driving a car that is all about, luxury, that I already know the advice now, and I don't want it to die, because I know that this thing is giving me sleepless nights. So I wrote the book. When I wrote the book started more like a traditional book. I titled it Oba. That's my gift for you. I titled it Oba. But I got to a point that I expressed writer's block. I couldn't proceed. I was teaching my class that day. So that thing told me to just tell these kids. Kids love stories, And I told them. So I told them to the point where I'm experiencing, like I criticized the Obama movie a lot. So picking up my book and throwing it away, being absorbed from the onset, and you predicting the end does not really go well with me. Because I've abused a lot of work of the go and everything. You watch from the beginning, scene 2, you already know that the guy this one Maya will, and this one will release me from the refusing, and this one now become master. I don't want my book to be like. Then it was even these kids that now gave me, master, why can't you do like this? It was from that class I picked how I'm going to finish the story perfectly. Creativity. Creativity is not all about ego. It's not about I'm older than this person. It's not. It is just, it's a deep thing that is wired into humans, and it is your ability for you to, put it to use that will make. Look at King David, the whole king. Look at the whole Psalms that written. That means that released albums. That's the evidence in the Bible. King is busy, and he's even a warrior. How was he able to do that? Because he enjoys that creativity. Now I finished with writing the book. I know I invited some of the friends to come for, my book launch. Some came. I know some have their reservation, but it's your journey. It's who you are. Eventually, when an opportunity came, and the president of Egypt, Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, was selecting 100 brightest youths across Africa. I was there at the interview, and they asked me, are you an achiever? What have you done so far as a youth? Talked about NGO, but you will see it in their face that you heard about any story. You say that you are part of those people that put from pipe in your village. You paint the banners out and everything. You see it in their face. So I bought the book. That same novel, I got it out and started taking it. You wrote this? Yes, I wrote it. I said I know it. And that was the first flight experience I've ever had. Certification, courtesy the president of Egypt, slept. Trust me, it was a top-notch experience that changed and rewired my life to it. Back to what happened. That was my art and business. And they told me to send that work. They read it. It was about Africa, Nigeria's predicaments. It was about Nigeria's predicament. Bad road is there, accident is there, romance is there, single parenting is there. Name it. It will be like you are reading your neighbor's story, like this is our, and it's not far-fetched. That's the influence I want to have. I decided it. I want you to pick my work, and you are able to relate with it. I don't want to use big words. Funny enough, I published my second novel, then I tested my book, I went there, and I said, no, I don't just want to be a local champion. I work towards Pastor Tunde Bakari. I gave it to him that I want you to be the one to write the foreword of this book. You know what it means to walk up to such a man? Do you know who Tunde Bakari is? You know how volatile and vocal. You know he's supposed to be the current vice president of this country. So he's not a stupid man. He won't want to align with anything that does not even represent him. One, people protect their name. And I gave him the book. I sent it to some international friends to write comments. Those ones wrote. It wasn't enough for me. I wanted to be sure. If this can't, it's not me looking myself in the mirror and being delusional. Then Tunde Bakari wrote the foreword. It was more like a love letter. And I said, yes, I think I'm getting it. And the second book was even so original that I used PG. Prison story criticized Nigerian government, not directly, reflected the life of someone who suffered in this system, broken system. And such a man said, yes, I can align with it. That's originality. I wouldn't write to suit him and say, I want to write a spiritual book. To the back, I have the contact. I wrote novel that could be considered for. Now, on and on. Because that influence will be tested. If I could be seated with Professor Ramon Sanusi and the likes of, the influence will continue and it will be a continual process. You know, remember, it started from that lantern, flow generator, from that candle, and that book I wrote. You have to attend to that news. So I don't know, but I encourage you to make sure that your influence is to spread powerful ideas, to try to initiate change in the society, to be the voice of the oppressed, to shine light, to try to portray the truth. The matter is, if you are a dwindler or you are trying to just go around ideologies, people don't respect that. Stand for an ideology. To try to devoid from some kind of obsolete ideology that are not well, that are going archaic or are ambiguous. I don't want to talk about gender issues right now. It's not my interest. I'm not interested in feminism. It's not my interest. What I'm interested in is because I am a son of a widow. It's natural for me. I suffered. I know what I experienced. And I know the chances I made it out of my experience is slim. And I want to portray to the world that there are more, they will create more chances for kids like that to get out of the wood. That's me. It's natural for me. And it's not that I can't use my English to speak or to say I want to write about romance. But it's not just natural for me. You come to tell me what is happening in your relationship, I don't have an advice for you. I'll tell you God will settle the issue. Now, finally, I want to round up. Make sure that you use your writing to preserve tradition also. That's how powerful writing is. To preserve tradition. The writing could also be used to create memories, to sharpen one's imagination. The influence you can have on others can be of information. You can make them to be well informed. I didn't know, I wasn't alive, I've not been given birth to when the Second World War happened. But I've been able to read about it. I've been able to watch videos about it because some people took it out of their own passion to write about things like that. So I was able to be, I'm well informed about what, okay, this incident that happened first World War, then follow through. You can use your writing also. You can use your writing also to ensure that you influence positive. There's positive influence and negative influence, like I said. Now, finally, I will submit this way. Remember that words can destroy and create. Words can destroy and create. But the question now is, what are you going to use your word, your writing, your gift, your art to do? Will you rather be an influencer who initiates positivity, creation, or who destroys? Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dimeji, and I will entertain any question. I brought a couple of books here, and I'm sure that you will display it. Please, I owe him one. Please give him one. And who is the other? Someone answered. You. Please give her one too. So thank you very much for listening. I will entertain any questions subsequently and meet you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Can you just appreciate it once more? Please appreciate it. if you have gotten more from what you said, at least I learned a lot from what you have said. Your art, your influence, and I did justice to that. In case you are interested in his books, it's just behind there. I think normally it's supposed to go for like 2,500 or so, but because of this gathering, it's selling it for 1,000 naira, just 1,000 naira. So if you are interested, at least some people have just seen the book as a gift set.